So, chat, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, we have talked about Dr. Disrespect quite a bit in the past on this channel. We talked about when he was defending his buddy Nick Merckx after Nick Merckx said some really anti-LGBTQ plus statements on Twitter in regards to people discussing, or what was it? They were talking about celebrating pride in schools or recognizing pride in schools. And Nick Merckx had a big problem with that. Don't teach that shit to my kids, right? When personally, I think, acknowledging Pride Month in schools is a good thing. I know, like, when I look back to when I was in school, queer kids, when I was in school, they got bullied and they weren't really accepted and all that stuff. So when I think about like pride being recognized in schools, I think about teaching kids acceptance of LGBTQ individuals, but also for those LGBTQ students in the school, they feel accepted now in a society that unfortunately there's still not a lot of acceptance for those kind of people. So, as somebody, who had queer friends when I was going to school, and I know a lot of queer people and whatnot, they would have appreciated that if it was in school back when I went to school. So it's kind of nice that schools are considering that now, but no, you can't do that because that's grooming. That's the way they want to insinuate it. You're grooming kids and you're trying to trans them and turn them gay and stuff like that. It doesn't work that way, but that's what they want you to think. Okay. So Nick Merckx speaks out against this, and Dr. Disrespect supports his friend Nick Merckx. As a matter of fact, I actually have a clip of that to kind of like refresh your memory. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at that. Dr. Disrespect responds to Call of Duty removing Nick Merckx's skin. This was in response to his anti-LGBTQ statements, but let's take a look.
If you don't know the news, yesterday, it just blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. That Call of Duty, Activision made the decision to pull Nick Merckx's skin and bundle off the game.
Ms. Gender Lynn in the chat says, did you know that Dr. Disrespect cheated on his wife with a trans sex worker? I saw it in a D'Angelo Wallace video on him. I did know that. Isn't it interesting? You see this a lot, right? Where a lot of these, like, people who are like right-leaning or like conservative figures and stuff like that, or like anti-woke types, they'll speak out against, trans people, right? But then you find out that they're like sliding into the DMs of like a trans woman trying to like sex with them or trying to get like free content from them. Because this was, as you mentioned, it was a trans sex worker trying to slide into the DMs and get like free content and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting, right? He supported his buddies' anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ positions, but he was like sliding into the DMs of a trans sex worker to cheat on his wife, be unfaithful to his wife yet again. Pretty funny, right?
Champs, just imagine. He's one of us. He's one of us streamers, right? To get your own skin and bundle and that whole collaboration on the biggest shooter franchise out there and be one of the first to do it in Call of Duty, that's such a massive accomplishment, and he worked hard years and years, built a nice community. He's a great representation.
A nice community, chat. Nick Merckx built up a nice community of repeatedly spreading queerphobic rhetoric to his chat. What a great community. What an absolutely wonderful community.
Of a streamer gaming, And just like that, he made it, got it in there, and they pulled it down. That's a fucking tough one, man.
I remember that's what he said. They showed this tweet on screen right there. This person tweeted, anti-LGBT protesters attack pro-LGBT demonstrators outside a Glendale, California school board meeting. The school board is voting to recognize June as Pride Month. That's all they were trying to do. They were just trying to recognize June as Pride Month in the school, which, like I said, something like that teaches kids who aren't LGBT to be more accepting of LGBT students, right? And it makes LGBT students feel more welcome at school, right? I think that that's a positive thing. But Nick Merckx didn't like that. He said they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. What's the issue with teaching kids acceptance of each other? That not everybody that you exist with is going to be the same as you. They're not going to have the same interests as you. They're not going to be the same race as you, the same, religion as you. They're not going to have the same, there are people that are different than who you are, and we should accept them. What is wrong with teaching kids acceptance? They're acting like I said, that they're acting like they're trying to indoctrinate kids to become gay or trans or stuff like that. That's not the case. You can't indoctrinate someone to be gay or to be trans or to be bisexual or whatever. You don't indoctrinate that. You either are those things or you're not. Okay? Like, the way they describe it is like kids are being groomed, and that like they're teaching kids how to have gay sex or something like that. And that's not what's happening. That is not the case. It's ignorance.
That's a fucking tough one, man. That's a tough one. For what again? So what I got to do, what we got to do is uninstall the game. Number one. I mean, don't get a mistake, in this year's Call of Duty is the worst in its franchise. But that decision by COD's PR marketing team, I'll tell you right now, man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to digest for the two-time.
Okay. So we've covered him in the past for this particular statement. We also covered him in the past for another statement where he was kind of coping about how he wanted to get early access to Starfield, and the developers of the game said they couldn't because of, some of his controversies in the past. And then he started like bitching about the fact that one of the developers on the game had pronouns in their bio. Let's take a look at that. Hold on.
The doc becomes frustrated with Starfield devs after being rejected for his past actions.
Head of publishing, this is my personal account when I tweeted marrying other random things. Him. Got it. Okay. Now everything's starting to make sense. Everything's starting to make sense now.
They had he, him pronouns in bio. So now it, quote, all makes sense, chat.
Everything's starting to make sense. Got it.
This is a grown-ass man who's like in his 40s, I think, bitching about how, and keep in mind, he's a millionaire, okay? He's like multi-millionaire. He could easily afford to buy the game, okay? But because they wouldn't give him free access to the game, he's coping and bitching about the fact that one of the lead developers had pronouns in their bio.
I got it. So, I got to say this, Chance, for just real quick. I just got to get it off my chest. Obviously, we've been hyping up Star Citizen for Starfield.
That's not going to help your case, bro. Like, if you're trying to get free access to a game from a developer and you're trying to convince them to give you free access to the game, maybe saying the wrong game's name isn't going to help. Just a thought.
For a long time, we've been making it very vocal, right, champs? We had our team reach out. Hey, can we work with you? Can we do something? Due to past controversies, there's no way we can work with DrDisrespect. How about just give me, let me play the game when some of the others are playing it. How about that? Yeah, that's still the case.
Jeez. We're literally just watching a grown man cope because he wouldn't get free access to a video game. Unfucking believable. So we've covered him in the past in regards to these sort of like anti-woke positions, pretty much. So why are we talking about him now? If you've been following the Dr. Disrespect sphere for the past few months or so, you probably heard a little something about a tweet that went viral and kind of caused shockwaves in the streaming space by someone known as Cody Connors. Cody Connors, back in June, late June, June 21st to be exact, tweeted out the following. He got banned because he got caught sexting a minor in the then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. The powers that be could read in plain text. Case closed, gang. No one made the wrong decision. Fuck him and his boys. Now, they don't name Dr. Disrespect in the tweet. However, one of the biggest sort of mysteries up to this point in the streamer sphere is, why did Dr. Disrespect get banned? Okay? Everybody had been wondering. He just randomly got banned one day and nobody knew why. He wasn't saying why. Twitch wasn't saying why. He ended up suing Twitch and settling with them. But we never knew the answer why he got banned. So this tweet right here made waves among social media. He eventually responded to this. There's a whole other, tons of articles and stuff about this. You can look it up if you really want to. We're not going to get into all of that. But he did initially respond in a now deleted tweet. This tweet is now deleted, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read to you guys the original tweet. And there are some edits that took place, some interesting edits that took place when this tweet went live. I'll mention them when we get there. He says, the Twitch ban. This was in response to the tweet we just read. Hello, I'd like to make a quick statement. Let's cut the fucking bullshit. As you know, there's no filter with me. I've always been upfront and real with you guys on anything that I can be upfront about, and I'm always willing to accept responsibility, which is why I am here now. First and foremost, I do want to apologize to everyone in my community, as well as those close to me, my team, and everyone at Midnight Society Game Studios. He ended up getting dropped by this game studio, a game studio that he founded. He ended up getting kicked out of it as a result of this. They did an internal investigation, and based on what they found, they decided, no, we're cutting ties with Dr. Disrespect. A lot of people have been left in the dark about what happened yesterday with Midnight Society and I, and we made the painful decision collectively to have me step down. He makes it seem like this was like a mutual decision between both parties. I don't think that's the case, because if you actually followed the story when it was going on, one of the other founders of Midnight Society came out with a tweet that basically said something along the lines of, I absolutely refuse to work with anyone who is engaging in inappropriate interactions with minors. Absolutely not. So this insinuation that this was like a mutual departure, I just don't believe that. I just don't. Our team is full of incredibly talented and good people that have high career ambitions and families, and I'd never want to jeopardize the culture we have carefully crafted. Everyone has been wanting to know why I was banned from Twitch, but for reasons outside of my control, I was not allowed to say anything for the last several years. Now that 2 former Twitch employees have publicly disclosed the accusations, I can now tell you my side of the story regarding the ban. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. He admitted it. He literally admitted that what he was being accused of happened. It's right there, highlighted in text. He admitted it. Now, the interesting thing about that particular line in the statement, he originally posted the statement as it's written right there, okay? For whatever reason, he later edited that statement to remove the word minor. So instead of individual minor, it was just individual. Now, what Dr. Disrespect failed to understand is that, yes, as somebody who's a Twitter Blue subscriber or whatever the fuck they call it now, yes, you can edit tweets, but people can view the edit history. So people started calling him out. Hey, Doc, why did you remove the word minor from your statement? He then, realizing that he was caught, oh, fuck, I didn't realize they could see the changes, he edited it back in. Didn't say anything about it, just edited it back in. And you can see the full edit history. You can see the original tweet, the way it was written originally, with minor included. You can see the second edit where he removed minor, and then you can see the third edit where he edited it back in. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. They were casual mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened. No pictures were shared. No crimes were committed. I never even met with the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and that case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear, it was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have ever been brought against me. So that's his statement. There's more to it, but this is, again, as I mentioned before, it's now a deleted tweet. I see Vio here who posted the screenshot, quote tweeting Keemstar. What did Keemstar say? Okay, show evidence that Dr. Disrespect is a pedophile. Okay. Keemstar would be defending Dr. Disrespect. How am I not surprised by that? Anyway, so why are we talking about all this now? Because this is kind of old news, chat. Why are we talking about this now? Because Dr. Disrespect announced recently that he would be returning to streaming. Okay, he took like, was it a month, maybe a month and a half off? And he came back to streaming. Now, I would show you this announcement on his Twitter, but I can't show you that. And I'll show you why I can't show you that. Let me see. Twitter.com/DrDisrespect. Apparently, the doc isn't such a big fan of the tip. Not sure why, but okay. But he announced that he's coming back. Okay, he's coming back to streaming, and he did come back to streaming. We actually have his stream right here. He streamed for 5 hours, and at peak he had like 200. When I saw anyway, there may be more, but I saw at one point he had 230,000 people watching this stream. Okay, that is a lot of fucking people to be watching someone who admitted to having inappropriate messages with a minor. Okay? Like, this is just proof that if enough people like you, you can get away with pretty much anything, chat. But he did make a statement on the situation in this stream, so I thought, why don't we take a look at it, chat? Why don't we take a look and see what the doc had to say in his defense in regards to the situation. So let's go ahead and let's refresh the page so we don't get any weird buffers. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, just keep ignoring the issue and putting up this act. God, I'm so concerned and worried about everyone else's problems except mine because I'm dealing with a deeper depression and I like to project.
Project what? He literally admitted to having inappropriate messages with a minor.
A lot of people donating. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. You know?
He's so mad.
Are you nervous to be back? After what's transpired over the last couple months, am I excited to be back to this type of world? God.
Way YouTube still allows him to stream, they demonetize his channel, so he can't earn like monetization via ad revenue, or he can't have channel members or like accept super chats or whatever. But he can still stream. He can still stream.
So glad you're back. Hey, I appreciate it, Shane. It's good to be back.
His mannerisms are weird. I mean, like he's doing this whole thing in character, which is weird, right? You would think if you were going to respond to very serious allegations, that you wouldn't do so in character if you want to be taken seriously, right? Because how many of you guys remember back when he like cheated on his wife and he came out and kind of addressed that situation? As a matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can find the clip of that, because it's very different than what we're seeing now. And I would argue that responding to allegations of, having inappropriate interactions with a minor is a hell of a lot more serious than cheating on your spouse. Not to say that it's okay to cheat on your spouse, but I would say that this is definitely more serious allegations to respond to. You would think that he would be out of character the same way he was when responding to that, but let me see. Dr. Disrespect clip, cheated on wife. Let's see. Okay, I think this is the clip. This is how he looked when he responded to the whole cheating on his wife thing. No costume, no performance, nothing like that. It's just normal Guy Beam. Not Dr. Disrespect, Guy Beam, the guy behind Dr. Disrespect, the character.
Kind of have a little bit of an announcement. And I just want to be completely transparent with you guys. As you guys know, I have a beautiful family and a wife and kid. And I want to be transparent that I've been unfaithful. And
so not in character, right? Addressing the allegations of being unfaithful to his wife, giving this situation the sensitivity that it needs, right? So you would think if you're going to be responding to allegations that are far more severe, that is, because let's be honest, okay? Like obviously cheating on your spouse, it's a pretty bad thing for sure, but it's not illegal. You didn't commit a crime. You know, it's the kind of thing that, yeah, it's shitty, but it's a family matter, okay? You deal with it as a family, right? And somehow you come out on the other side with it, okay? That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about very serious claims of having very inappropriate interactions with a minor. And he responds to those accusations in character and kind of makes a little bit of a mockery of it. It doesn't make sense.
To a certain degree, right? We got to figure out this monetization thing. So September 25th is basically when we can reapply for partnership on YouTube. You know, people ask, do I, now that you're not getting monetized, you're not going to be streaming ever again, or you're on YouTube, are you? There's an opportunity to reapply, right? September 25th is the date. So in the meantime, we'll do what we need to do. I enjoy my time here on YouTube. You know, we've built a nice, strong community for years. This is where we started 16 years ago. 2008, I think. You know, I like my time here. And I like the community. We've got the best, realest gaming community, right? The Champions Club. And we've built it on this platform, and if there's an opportunity to reapply for partnership, and there's a date that's been presented to us, then I'm going to take it. And then I
find the way he's like wording this and the way he's presenting this to be a little bit like dishonest in a way. Like, is it just me, or like some of the language he's using, it makes it seem like he had like a conversation with YouTube and said, hey, they presented us this opportunity to like reapply on this particular date. So we're going to reapply and we're going to try to get like monetized again. But as somebody who's been demonetized on YouTube, that's not how it works. Okay. You get demonetized and I think it's like 90 days. You get to reapply again in 90 days. It's a pretty standard like system that they have in place for being able to reapply for monetization. This isn't some special arrangement he got or anything like that. This is just the process. This is just how it works. But it seems to me like he's kind of trying to explain it in a way that makes it seem like he's having some kind of like negotiations with YouTube about getting his monetization back. And it's just not the case. That's not how it works.
Meantime, like we always done.
Yeah, it took a long time for Dylan Burns to get remonetized. Wait, he eventually got remonetized? I actually didn't know about that because I saw his fight trying to get remonetized. Like he would apply over and over and over again. And like they kept denying him. So I'm really actually glad to hear that he eventually got remonetized because I wasn't aware of that. I thought he was still demonetized. So good for him. Good for him.
We've always stayed in our lane. We'll stay in our lane and continue to just put on a show. You know? For almost 4 years, champs, the public demanded to hear from the doc regarding the Twitch suspension. I guess since you all
He's a Weasley little liar. Yeah, true.
What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
Missed the point with my personal statement. Maybe it's time to tell my side of the story.
What do you mean miss the point? In the original statement, you literally admitted that, yes, what you were being accused of, you did it. Like, maybe he can try and finagle this in his favor in some way if, he hadn't put out a statement where you admitted to it. Like, maybe he can kind of twist it in a way that works for him. Because, let's face it, like, Twitch isn't going to respond to this, okay? He's able to put out this statement and make a lot of the claims that we're about to see him make right here because he knows, because of legal obligations, that Twitch is not going to respond. So he could say whatever the fuck he wants, and Twitch is never going to respond to it, right? So maybe he had the potential to be able to finagle this in a way that works out for him, right? But that doesn't work when you put out a statement already where you admitted it. You literally owned up to it. My guy, like, what?
Champs? You see, there was a lawsuit pending, and as part of that arbitration, all parties were not allowed to speak publicly about the case. I respected those rules. My lawsuit against Twitch was eventually resolved, as you all know. But even then, as part of the settlement, all parties were still prohibited from speaking publicly about the case or the settlement. However, if one side violated that confidentiality, then the other side could respond. And again, champs, I respected all the confidential obligations. But apparently Twitch's own disgruntled employees didn't feel the need to abide by those same obligations.
Oh, one thing I want to note before we continue on with this, you'll notice that there's a lot of love in the chat for the doc, like a lot of like people in support of him here, and very little people like speaking out against him. I actually want to show you something. I should have pulled this up before I started the segment, but I totally forgot. Let me show you guys something that's pretty funny considering the circumstances of what's going on here. Okay, here we go. I posted this tweet the day of this stream. This is what I had to say. Over 220,000 people cheering on someone who admitted to chatting up a minor in DMs. Proof that if enough people like you, you can get away with just about anything. Gross. And I showed some of the chats. People like in support of the doc, right? But here's the interesting part. Only channel subscribers of 13 weeks or longer can send messages. So if you weren't subscribed to his channel for a period of at least 13 weeks, you could not type in the chat. That was a very clear effort to prevent anyone from being able to say anything negative about the allegations. Now, some people got through because they were already subscribed for one reason or another. Like I did see one go by where they were calling him a predator. Okay, so some people did get by, but for the most part, if you were not a DrDisrespect subscriber and you showed up in the chat to try and make your voice heard, you wouldn't be able to. You would have had to be a subscriber for at least 13 weeks to engage in the chat.
Cody Connors, ex-Twitch employee, wasn't even involved. Leaks.
Literally calls out the guy who made the initial tweet by name.
Twitch's reported reason. Years later, Cody, why do this? What was the point? This was settled professionally. And you, knowing how black and white the internet is, you decided, you fucking rat, to leak the reported reason Twitch banned me in 2020. I mean, for what? Cody? Why? Did you not know the repercussions from spewing lies about the two-time?
What lies? You admitted it! I have a feeling that I'm going to sound like a broken record right now, constantly repeating myself, but you admitted it! Like, what is the lie? Tell me where the lie is.
Did you not know the repercussions of accusing me, Cody Connors? You see, you don't know shit, and it was obvious from your tweet. You didn't have any firsthand knowledge of my dispute with Twitch. You said that I got banned from Twitch because I was sexting a minor through Whisper's messages? Do you even know what the legal
So basically he made his own little hub box. Not even basically, like he literally did that. 100%. Like that's what he did.
definition of sexting is? I do. And yeah, I used Twitch as Whispers, but trust me, I wasn't sexting anyone. You also said the word minor, Cody. I even made sure that word was emphasized in my statement. Edited.
No. He's not trying to make this seem like some high IQ 4D chess move. He's literally trying to make the whole edit thing seem like some high IQ 4D chess move. Oh my God. There's no way he actually thinks that anybody with a functional brain is going to believe that. Yes, his brain dead fans will buy into it, but like, oh my God. He thinks everybody's stupid.
Etc. Just to make sure these so-called journalists would pick up on it.
You know how they talk about like those people who like they read body language and stuff like that? They talk about like duping delight. You know, the expression on someone's face when they feel like they've duped someone. He's got the expression of duping delight all over his face right now. You're not duping anyone, bro.
And boy,
except, like I said, your young brain dead fans.
Boy, did they ever, champs. When you and all these so-called journalists, Cody, fired off your tweets, did any of you consider that the Twitch user may have been over the legal age of consent at the time of the messages?
That's a very odd choice of words, isn't it, chat? Did you ever consider that they were above the age of consent? Not that they weren't a minor. No, that's not the way he worded it, okay? He said that they were above the age of consent, right? So this could have been someone who was, depending on who he's talking to, you know, what if this is somebody who's in another country and like the age of consent is like 14? This could have been somebody who was like 14. What if it was like one of the many states where the age of consent is 16? Could have been someone who was 16 years old, still underage, mind you. Very interesting choice of words there that he doesn't say, did you ever consider that when these conversations happened, they weren't a minor? No, he says, did you ever consider that they were above the age of consent? Interesting choice of words, right, chat?
You didn't. Neither did any of these journalists, and neither did Twitch at the time of the ban. You also tried to tell the world that I was trying to meet up with this user at TwitchCon, but you're wrong. Let's set the record straight. I never intended to meet this user ever. We never made plans to meet at TwitchCon or anywhere else, and in fact, we never met in person ever. Your bullshit accusations gave false courage to other former Twitch employees to make shit up as well. I suspect all of you.
People talk about age of consent like it's a loophole to being a pedo is telling on yourself. Yeah, pretty much. That was a common thing that Onision would do when he was defending himself against a lot of the allegations he was facing. Age of consent. He would throw that around as like some kind of defense.
Sort of planned and coordinated this attack. These big-time publications, these journalists, these various outlets are sort of just gossip channels now. Don't you think, champs? They act like they're just gossip channels now. Without any real journalism.
A lot of his mannerisms here while he's having this conversation, it literally seems like he's kind of like looking to the chat like, you guys believe me, right? Please chat, please tell me you believe me, for the love of God, please believe me.
And real research happening.
And the sad thing is these fucking idiots in his chat are eating this bullshit right out of his fucking hand. It's like I said earlier in the stream. If someone likes you enough, you can get away with anything. And he's living proof of that right now.
They report on all this based on leaks from two former Twitch employees, one of whom was supposedly on the trust and safety team. If these anonymous sources worked on the trust and safety team at the time of my Twitch suspension in 2020, then you would hope they would tell the truth. But apparently that's just too much to ask. If these former trust and safety team members, and by the way, I know exactly who they are, actually had firsthand knowledge.
Is it just me, or does that kind of come off as like a like a very vague like threat, like I know who you are. Because some of the people that came out, they were like Twitch employees, but they came out like anonymously in various like media outlets and stuff. So that like I know who you are. That kind of comes off as a bit of a threat.
Then what they conveniently left out is, 1, Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally admitted that the whisper messages were not sexting. And 2, Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally acknowledged that the whispers did not constitute child sexual abuse material CSAM. I'll say it again. Neither I nor the Twitch user exchanged any sexual graphic messages or images. Cody Connors and these other anonymous sources are trying to paint a picture that I was exchanging sexually explicit messages and photos with this Twitch user. That never happened. I even used the word inappropriate, purposely.
See, he's trying to make himself sound like very Machiavellian, like he planned this like whole fucking thing so that it would be received by shady journalists in this very malicious way. It's like, dude, you admitted to it in a tweet, okay? This isn't some high IQ, like big-brained move or something. You admitted it, and now you're backpedaling. Come on.
Look at how it's defined by everyone, champs. Huh? Including these defaming articles. I'm sorry, but mutual bantering with inappropriate jokes taken out of context should have never led to me getting banned from Twitch in the first place. I mean, how would each of you look if all of your private DMs, your text messages, your chats were looked at, dissected, and taken out of context by someone who's deliberately trying to find something inappropriate in those words?
Okay, so it's like, it is true that somebody can like leak your private conversations in a way that makes them look like something they're not. This is true. So show us what the truth is, Doc. If you're saying people like showed your messages to Twitch employees out of context, show us what actually happened, Doc. Why won't you do that? Notice like he's making a lot of statements here, but he's not providing any evidence to back up any of this. He mentioned that, you know, arbitration happened. There was like a lawsuit that was going on. Later on, you'll see he references the discovery process that happens during a lawsuit. So he is saying he has information that he was able to collect through discovery, but he's not showing us anything. He's saying a lot of words, but he's not actually showing anything to back it up. Why is that? Why is that, Doc?
And this is not a situation where a victim publicly accuses someone of wrongdoing. That never happened here. We're talking about allegations that Twitch made against me as a half-baked reason for justifying their actions of suspending and shutting down my channel. Allegations that Twitch made without even a legal analysis of whether the whisper messages were legal. You see,
I can look, okay. I obviously wasn't involved in this moderation process that resulted in him getting banned. I wasn't involved in the legal process for his little lawsuit with Twitch or anything like that. I have no background knowledge to any of this stuff, okay? But I can really poke holes in this statement he's making by asking one question, okay? If during this whole legal process that happened and this whole internal review with Twitch and everything that went on, you know, let's play devil's advocate and say they made a mistake with their ban, okay? If during this whole legal process and part of the settlement and everything that you did and whatnot, they ended up paying out the rest of your contract to you, if it was determined that nothing wrong was done during that whole process, why didn't they unban you? Why are you still to this day banned on Twitch if you didn't do anything wrong? Because certainly if Twitch fucked up and during this arbitration process it was discovered that Twitch fucked up, well, certainly they would unban you if that was the case, right? But they didn't. Why? Isn't that a valid question to ask? Why didn't you get unbanned if Twitch was in the wrong?
I engage with my community. I engage with other streamers. And through Twitch Whispers, I communicate with Twitch users. Conversations that consisted of a variety of playing games and gaming politics, content creation, random stuff. This was the extent of my whispers with this Twitch user. On June 21st, 2020, my ex-Twitch partner...
It'll be part of their deal that he stays banned on Twitch, but they admit no wrongdoing on his part. I mean, it's possible, I suppose, but it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? I think the only way that negotiations like that would happen is if there was something there that makes Doc look bad. And so they're just kind of like, hey, you know what? I won't say anything about why you guys banned me. You guys don't say anything about it. You don't have to unban me. We just kind of, you pay out the remainder of my contract and we go our own separate ways. Okay. Why would Doc agree to that? Because he's always going to have, and he did always have, this sort of shadow floating over his head of like, what did he do that was so bad that resulted in him getting banned? Right? There was always this question, and there was a lot of like concerns that people had there for valid reasons, because around the time he got banned, this whole Me Too movement thing was going on Twitch, where a bunch of streamers were getting banned because of like Me Too allegations that were coming out against them. So this has always been hanging over his head of like, why did the Doc get banned? Did he do something really bad that resulted in him getting banned and staying banned? He would not, in my opinion, agree to terms like that of a settlement of like, yes, we'll pay you your money and we'll keep quiet on the whole thing, but you can't get unbanned, because that would continue to allow that shadow to float over his head the whole time. And people would always have that big question mark in their heads of like, what did he do that was so bad that he got banned and they refused to unban him? I do not think he would agree to those terms of a settlement if he didn't do something legitimately wrong. That's my take.
Manager learns that I exchanged whispers with the Twitch user. And I say ex-partner manager because for years, this guy didn't do anything for me, my community, or my channel. For years. I'm talking no front page love. You're talking about the face of the platform, right? Literally. The face of the platform. And I know Champions Club remembers this. We got zero front page love on the website. He was never on my channel. He didn't follow me on Twitter. He wouldn't even inform us about Twitch rival tournaments. We're talking about the two-time Twitch rival tournament. Oh, I'm sorry.
Was generally in the face of the platform. I mean, this guy literally was like, at the time, one of the biggest streamers on Twitch. A lot of people, when you thought about Twitch, one of the first streamers that came to mind was DrDisrespect at that time. Like, this guy was huge on Twitch.
God, would you want to play in it? We got zero support from this guy. And it was just so obvious that he carried a grudge.
That's what made it so much more mysterious, is the fact that earlier on, prior to this incident where he got banned, he had just signed a multi-million-dollar exclusivity contract with them. He was one of the biggest guys on the platform. And then just like that, he was gone. And everybody's like, what the fuck happened? Why did this happen? He wasn't talking. Twitch wasn't talking. It was the biggest mystery in the social media entertainer industry. The biggest one.
Against the two-time. So after we signed with Twitch in 2019, we asked for a new partner manager. And just a few months later, that ex-Twitch partner manager is directly involved with getting me banned. Coincidence?
He's making it seem like it was a big conspiracy against him. Like, this is like Alex Jones level, like, conspiracy crafting.
The Twitch user tells the ex-Twitch partner manager that they do not want to report anything to Twitch. I'll repeat that sentence one more time just in case anybody missed that one. The Twitch user tells this ex-Twitch partner manager that they do not want to report anything to Twitch. But this ex-Twitch partner manager encourages the user and even directs them to file a report directly with Twitch, even though the user told him clearly that we never physically met anywhere and that no photographs were exchanged. On June 24th, 2020, Twitch...
I'm literally losing my sanity. I need a retard break. Fair enough.
Hold on. Retard break. I need a retard break. Give me a retard break for like 2 fucking minutes, okay? I can't keep listening to fucking retards.
Bruh.
Special operations team receives and reviews the user's report. They find no issues and determine that it did not warrant any.
He sounds so angry over this. I mean, it's cope. It's pure cope.
You are coping.
Of course he's mad. And he's just praying that his audience buys it. And the sad thing is they are. All his friends that disassociated with him as a result of this scandal, they're now getting shit for being backstabbers and traitors. His brain-dead audience is eating the shit out of his fucking hand.
I fucking hate everyone.
Further escalation to Twitch's law enforcement response team.
If enough people like you, chat, if you're popular enough, you can get away with anything, including sliding into the DMs of a minor and having inappropriate conversations with them.
That would have been the end. That should have been the end.
It's just so funny, right? It's just so funny. We kind of references on an earlier segment in the stream about like, you know, every accusation is an admission in disguise or something along those lines. I probably fucked up that statement again, that saying or whatever. But we have Dr. Disrespect, someone who in the past has defended his friend, making statements that insinuated that members of the LGBTQ community are groomers. Okay? And here he is, we find out, having inappropriate interactions with a minor in Twitch Whispers. It's crazy how that works, right?
But that partner manager.
Yeah, every accusation is a confession.
Oh boy, did he had it out. He had it out for the 2-time. He finds out that no further action will be taken, so what does he do? He personally escalates the report to a friend on the Twitch's LER team. The LER team.
Remember when we covered the tenant media thing moments ago? We were talking about how like all the content creators are like, we didn't know what was going on. Like, we're the victims here. He's playing by the same playbook. He wants to make it seem like they were all out to get him at Twitch, and he's the victim here, chat. He's the victim. You should feel bad for him because he's the victim.
What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
Remember, that's the Twitch's law enforcement response team. He escalates the report to a friend on Twitch's LER team. So a day later, on June 25th, the LER analyst pulls the entirety of the Whisper messages and begins discussing them with his director of the LER team. Mind you, this director is on vacation at that time and does not have access to their computer or work files. Let me just remind you.
He makes a lot of statements here, but doesn't provide any information whatsoever to back it up. No screenshots, no documents, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And I went through a multi-year, a big-time arbitration, okay? And, you discover a lot of stuff.
That's why I mentioned he mentions Discovery.
Mind you, this director is on vacation at that time.
So if what he's saying is true, during Discovery, he found a lot of information that backs up his claims here. Where is it? Why are we not seeing you showing us these things that you're referring to that would back up your claims? Really makes you think, right, chat?
The LER analyst cherry picks and sends a few targeted excerpts out of context from the Whisper messages.
It's literally the source meme. It's literally the source meme.
Nice argument. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
To this director. Now, if you do this, you can make anyone's messages look inappropriate, even when they aren't. Within less than 1 hour, This LER analyst and his director have made the decision to suspend me from Twitch. Twitch submits a report to NCMEC. You guys all read those little articles, huh? The NCMEC. Twitch submits that report. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Guess what? As far as I know, and over 4 years have passed, they didn't do anything with the report. As far as I know, they didn't escalate Twitch's report to law enforcement. Mind you, the same people that made this decision admit internally that the messages did not constitute sexting. The same people that made this decision at Twitch admit internally that the messages did not warrant any child sexual abuse material charge.
So show us proof that you gained through discovery during arbitration that they said this. Where's the proof that the internal documents or whatever it is that you have that backs up what you're saying here? Why don't you show us?
Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me while admitted
he could easily just completely squash this whole thing. The funny thing, he wouldn't even have to leak the messages and show what happened in the messages. He could literally just show some proof that these internal conversations that he's referring to, that he's suggesting that he was able to gain access to during the discovery process of arbitration, he's claiming that he has all stuff that back this up. So show it. You can literally shut everybody up about this situation. But instead he makes a bunch of claims and doesn't show anything to back it up.
Not perform any legal analysis of whether the messages exchanged were illegal in any way. Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me while admitting that they never investigated the age of consent in the jurisdiction where the user's messages were sent and received. Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me without ever interviewing me, the user, or any other third party, including the partner manager. It's fucking unbelievable!
He's not mad, chat. He's definitely not mad.
I'm not going to get into every detail regarding my legal case, but these former Twitch employees that claim to have firsthand knowledge, they just don't have a clue. They didn't report any facts. The judge in the case determined that the whispers were not illegal. So then why did Twitch use these messages against me? Why did Twitch treat the doc so differently from their other streamers? I mean, outside of the obvious. I mean, just take a look at me. Unfiltered. The realest motherfucker in this industry. 6'8", gorgeous, athletic, successful, college degree, college athlete, bourbon.
See, how are you supposed to take anyone seriously that's responding to serious allegations when they make a mockery of it themselves in their own statement like this? Like, how are you supposed to take this seriously at all?
Business, gaming studio, beautiful family. And trust me, we've worked hard for over a decade to improve as a person, a husband and father, and to get where we're at today. I mean, I'm in such a good place today. And all these people, they all act like they're just so perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. Sometimes I do. But I also didn't do all this shit that they're saying I did. But then that doesn't make a story, right? They wanted media attention. The media wants controversy. And by sensationalizing all this with big...
Leslie Angelos is the most suppressed of all minorities, a white streamer. Oh, yeah, true.
Inaccurate headlines like sexting and sexually explicit. You all got what you wanted at the expense of the tube time. The reality is, they wanted to cut down the doc. Plain and simple. Take a look at some of these horrendous acts.
Again, like I said, I probably sound like a broken record here, but how could he make himself out to be a victim like people lied about him when he admitted it? He fucking admitted it. in his public statement on Twitter. Did you lie too then?
Of Twitch streamers that were never banned. I've got some examples right here. Example number 1. A streamer that frequently used the N-word while publicly streaming, which constitutes
Now, don't get me wrong. Using the N-word is bad, okay? It's a racial slur. It's a bad thing to do. And it is against Twitch's terms of service. But is this fucking guy really comparing saying a racial slur to having inappropriate messages with a minor?
Hold on, retard break. I need a retard break. Give me a retard break for like 2 fucking minutes, okay? I can't keep listening to fucking retards.
Nah. You know what? One wasn't enough. I need another one.
Hold on, retard break. I need a retard break. Give me a retard break for like 2 fucking minutes, okay? I can't keep listening to fucking retards.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
constitutes a violation of Twitch's policies if accompanied by hateful intent. Twitch scheduled a meeting with the streamer to ascertain his intent to determine whether his conduct was a violation of Twitch's policies, ultimately determining it was not a breach of Twitch's policies. Why wasn't I called into a meeting? Why wasn't my intent taken into...
Woe is me, poor Dr. Disrespect, successful multimillionaire streamer. Boo fucking who?
Consideration, champs. Example number 2. Streamer was reported for...
So you're not even going to say the names of these streamers? For all we know, he could be fabricating these stories. Like, this could be, like, bullshit that never fucking happened, right? So he's not naming the streamer. Keep in mind, I've watched other streamers, big streamers, who are well-entrenched in the Twitch sphere, okay? People who are so knowledgeable of the history of Twitch that if you were to cite something that happened on Twitch involving a streamer and not name the streamer, they'd, like that, be able to tell you, that's the streamer he's talking about. And you want to know how many of these streamers that I've watched react to this and these mentions of these streamers that he's referring to and were able to name the streamers he was talking about? 0. Not a single fucking streamer that I watched react to this knew who he was talking about. Not Hassan, not Destiny, not Asmongold, not I could keep naming names of streamers I've watched to react to this shit, and they had no idea who the fuck he was referring to.
Discussing doing things with deceased animals and discussing pedophilia, all while live streaming. Never suspended, but instead given a multi-million-dollar contract.
No mention of who this streamer is. Nobody knows who the fuck he was talking about. Like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example, okay? If I were to describe a Twitch streamer who was banned from the platform for self-harm because he had this shtick of smashing keyboards over his head, everybody would be able to tell you that that was Delor. Okay? If I were to tell you about a streamer who, back in the early days of Twitch, got banned from Twitch for allegedly scamming his audience out of money, claiming that he was handicapped and needed money for things like a wheelchair and stuff like that, and that there was a clip that came out of him standing up out of his wheelchair when he didn't realize he was still alive, everybody would be able to tell you who that streamer was, which, funny enough, I'm actually forgetting their name right now. I'm sure somebody in chat knows who I was talking about. But my point is, you can mention incidents involving big name streamers that happened to them, and people would know who you're talking about. Okay? I'll give you another one. Streamer got banned for putting himself in situations that resulted in him getting swatted numerous times to the point that he got swatted on an airplane. He was knowingly putting himself in harm's way when it came to swatting on his stream for the purpose of creating shocking content. When I describe that, everybody knows that that is Ice Poseidon. You see what I mean? Where, like, if you describe these things enough, people know who you're talking about. Who the fuck is Doc talking about? And why are some of the most well-known streamers on the platform completely clueless as to who you're talking about? It's very possible, and I'm not saying this without a shadow of a doubt, but it's very possible he completely fabricated these stories.
Example number 3. Streamer was reported for a sexually explicit stream involving children.
Yeah, I know that the whole thing was like a misunderstanding, and apparently like that guy's name ended up getting cleared. I've actually talked to the streamer after his name was cleared, Jazz Dog. So I'm familiar with that guy. I forget his name. Somebody in chat will know. I think, hopefully. But yeah, that guy did eventually get cleared that he wasn't lying and he didn't scam his audience.
And telling children to send Snapchat.
Which is kind of fucked up. Twitch didn't unban that guy after his name was cleared. They really should have, but whatever.
Of them playing with themselves. Never suspended, but instead, given a multi-million-dollar contract. It's so obvious that certain Twitch executives, employees involved had personal biases against the doc and used all of this as an opportunity to terminate my contract.
Zillion OP, that's the guy, Zillion OP, which, yes, he was later, basically, there was evidence presented that proved that he wasn't lying. That he could have been a little bit more transparent with his audience, but he wasn't necessarily lying. Like, he was telling the truth. But yeah, thank you for the name. I was literally like, my brain was like, what's that guy's fucking name? But yeah, Zillion OP, way back in the early days of Twitch, he got banned for scamming his audience, but he didn't actually scam his audience. But chat, listen to the story. He goes some like full conspiracy crafting, like Alex Jones level conspiracy theory crafting.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Watch this.
Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap.
Contract. Go back and look at the timing of all this too. The doc's termination lines up with 2 preferable, profitable, and expensive streamers leaving Mixer.
By the way, if you don't know who he's talking about Ninja and Shroud. That's who he's talking about. Shroud and Ninja had both signed like exclusive big money contracts with Mixer. I actually really liked that time in the streaming sphere because it kind of reminded me of the old WCW versus WWE days of like these two companies signing like talent from each other and stealing talent away from each other. It was like the streamer equivalent of that. So it was a really cool time to be a fan of like stream content. But yeah, they signed Mixer on these big money deals and Mixer didn't actually work out. Ninja and Shroud got signed to Mixer and Mixer didn't work out. It ended up like getting closed down. So these guys were like free agents at that point. And his theory that he's crafting is they rushed to get Doc's contract invalidated so they could sign those guys instead. That's his little conspiracy theory.
As soon as Twitch knew that Mixer had failed, and go look at the timing. These other expensive streamers needed a new streaming platform. So Twitch rushed through its decision to terminate the 2-time. You see, I shouldn't even be banned from Twitch. It has affected us on so many levels. Back in 2020 and now in 2024. And Cody, Connors, I just have to say it again. Why would you do this? Like I said, this was handled professionally years ago. No fucking wrongdoing. But because of you, Cody, we just lost. Fuck, man. Unfortunately, we have to lay off people from Midnight Society.
This is like super manipulative too, in my opinion. because of the fact that, as I mentioned earlier in the segment, he got fired from Midnight Society when all this came out. Okay, it's possible that as a result of losing, his influence to help, promote the company, they're actually laying people off. But he's wording it in a way that makes it seem like he still has some say over at the company, and he had to make that decision to lay people off. You don't work there anymore. So why are you making it seem like you do? They shit-canned you as a result of this scandal. So why are you pretending like you still have some say in their operation? Like you personally had to decide to lay people off. It's dishonest. It's a fucking lie. It's a manipulation tactic to try and get sympathy from people.
What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
Right. Because of you, Cody. Through all this, we are where we are. And like a fucking man, I'll accept it. What I don't accept is sitting quietly by and let these idiots attack me with false accusations. No. For all these doc haters out there too, oh man, the ones that project and worry about everyone else's problems, right? I can't understand that mindset. I could care less. We've always stayed in our lane. But somehow, some way, these people, they just get in our lane. For all you doc haters, I'm sure you'll dissect all of this and still find a way to publicly criticize me. Do what you need to do. I'll say this isn't for you. This was for my team today, my community, my friends, La Familia that have supported me. And I'm not denying the exchange of whispers, champs. I'm not denying that to all of you out there. It looks bad. I have no way of knowing if the Twitch user thought our exchange of whispers was inappropriate. If it was, I apologize. All I know is that I never did what Twitch, Cody Connors, or the public is claiming that I did.
So prove it. It's not that hard, right? To prove it, right? Prove it.
That's it. I'm not saying anything more about any of this, right? Unless I need to, because trust me, I have more I haven't disclosed. I just want to get back to what we do best. Put on a show and climb our way to the tippity top of the mountain, man. In our own lane. That's it.
If I ever heard one. Holy shit. All right. I think this is a good place to wrap it up for this segment. So what are my thoughts on this? Like, I kind of mentioned this before that, like, if he hadn't put out that statement, the day, or like, what was it, like a day or two after this statement by Cody initially came out, if he hadn't put out that Twitter statement where he basically admitted to all this, he probably could have finagled this in a way where people might have actually bought it. Okay? He might have actually convinced people that, yeah, this whole thing's bullshit. But it doesn't work. Maybe it works for your brain dead fans who love you so much that they'll buy anything you feed to them. But This doesn't work for anyone else because you admitted it. The moment you admitted it, you sealed the deal. Okay? Nobody's buying this bullshit. Unless you can present some kind of evidence that backs up what you're saying, nobody's buying this shit. Okay? You did it. You admitted to doing it. And that's it. It's as simple as that. It's literally as simple as that.